Welcome to Legends Forever, with Richard bringing you a place of remembrance for extraordinary lives that continue to inspire long after they are gone. Here we honor timeless figures from film, music, sports, and culture, reflecting on their achievements, their influence, and the memories they left behind. Every tribute is a celebration of legacies that will never be forgotten. Marlair Costello was an American actress whose long and steady career reflected dedication to craft rather than fame. Born on February 3, 1936 in Peoria, Illinois, she grew up during a time when television and Hollywood were rapidly shaping modern entertainment. From a young age, she showed a natural interest in storytelling and performance, which eventually guided her toward acting as a profession. She later trained at the Actors Studio in New York City, where she developed a performance style focused on emotional truth and realism, a foundation that shaped all her future work. Before appearing on screen, she spent years working in theater, building strong stage experience, and earning respect for her depth and authenticity as a performer. Her transition to television brought wider recognition, especially for her role as Rosemary Hunter Fordwick in The Waltons, where she portrayed warmth and emotional grounding in a family-centered story. She also starred in The Fitzpatricks, further showing her ability to bring realism to everyday characters, and made guest appearances in shows like Murder, She Wrote, and Chicago Hope. In film, she took on varied roles in projects such as Let's Scare Jessica to Death, Ordinary People, and Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, proving her range across different genres. She was married to actor Alan Arbus and preferred to keep her personal life private, focusing instead on her work and craft. Later in life, she moved into teaching acting at Loyola Marymount University, where she guided students in emotional honesty and character development. Marlair Costello passed away in New York City at the age of 90, leaving behind a legacy of quiet excellence, consistency, and respect within the acting community. Enchanting. Born Channing Nicole Larry on October 9, 1997, developed a unique space in modern hip-hop with a style that blended melodic rap and emotional honesty. Although she was born in Germany, she grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, where she began shaping her identity as an artist and building her early music following. Her sound stood out for its mix of vulnerability and rhythm, allowing her to connect with listeners in a way that felt personal and direct. She gained wider recognition after signing with 1017 Records, where she became part of a growing collective of emerging talent. One of her major breakout moments came with the 2022 track Track and Field featuring Khalid, which gained significant online attention and helped introduce her music to a broader audience. Over time, she continued collaborating with other artists such as Big Scar, Ian Dior, and Fujiano, earning a reputation for consistency and versatility within her musical circle. Her work reflected a raw, unfiltered perspective that resonated with fans who appreciated her authenticity. Enchanting passed away at the age of 26, and while her life ended far too soon, her music continues to circulate and connect with listeners, preserving her voice and creative presence through the songs she left behind. Edith Ava Ager was born on September 29, 1927 in Košice, a city whose national borders changed over time between Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and Slovakia. She grew up in a Hungarian-speaking Jewish family that valued education, discipline, and creativity. From a young age, she was drawn to movement and performance, training in ballet and gymnastics, and she was even selected for the Hungarian Olympic gymnastics team before her life was abruptly changed by the outbreak of World War II. In 1944, after the Nazi occupation of Hungary, Edith and her family were forced into a ghetto and later deported to Auschwitz. There, she was separated from her parents, who did not survive. She and her sister Magda endured extreme hardship across several concentration camps, including Auschwitz and Mauthausen, surviving forced labor, starvation, and a death march in the final days of the war. She was eventually liberated in 1945 by American soldiers while severely weakened. After the war, she returned briefly to her hometown and later emigrated to the United States in 1949 with her husband, Beau Ager, who was also a survivor. In America, she rebuilt her life, studied psychology, and became a clinical psychologist specializing in trauma and PTSD. Her work was deeply shaped by her own experiences, focusing on healing, resilience, and the ability to regain meaning after suffering. She also became a widely read author and speaker, sharing her message of recovery and inner strength. Her life is remembered as a powerful example of survival, healing, and human resilience. Cheryl Murray was an English actress best remembered for playing Susie Burchell in the long-running ITV soap opera Coronation Street. She first appeared on the show in 1977, portraying a lively and independent character who quickly connected with audiences. She continued in the role until 1979 and later returned briefly in 1983, strengthening her association with one of Britain's most enduring television series. Beyond this, she built a steady career in British television, appearing in the comedy series High to High as Joan Wainwright, and also featured in the BBC sitcom Sorry, including the episode Collapse of Small Party. She also appeared in the music video for Every Day is Like Sunday by Morrissey, adding a memorable visual presence to its reflective mood. Murray's career was later affected by health challenges after she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which gradually led her to step away from acting in 1998. Years later, she made a brief return for a 2014 documentary celebrating Coronation Street, reflecting her lasting connection to the show. Her passing was announced without a publicly confirmed cause, and she is remembered fondly for her contribution to British television and the warmth she brought to her roles. Bob Salinger was a deeply respected conservationist who dedicated much of his life to protecting wildlife and preserving natural habitats in Oregon. Based in Portland, Oregon, he spent decades working on environmental causes with steady commitment and a strong sense of purpose. His work often focused on safeguarding ecosystems, advocating for wildlife protection, and helping shape conversations around conservation policy in the region. Those who worked with him remember his energy, persistence, and willingness to step in when animals or natural spaces were at risk. He was widely seen as someone who understood the balance between human development and environmental responsibility, and he consistently pushed for solutions that prioritize long-term ecological health. Beyond policy work, he was also involved in rescue and awareness efforts, helping people better understand the importance of protecting local wildlife. His sudden passing at the age of 57 came as a shock to many in the conservation community. As of now, the exact cause of death has not been publicly shared. His absence has left a noticeable gap among colleagues, activists, and all those who valued his dedication. His legacy continues through the ongoing environmental efforts and protections he helped strengthen over the years. Celine Dion's life story is often told through the lens of her extraordinary voice, but her journey is much broader and more human than fame alone. She grew from a child in a large working-class family in rural Quebec into one of the most recognized singers in the world. That transformation did not happen overnight. It was built through years of discipline, family support, early responsibility, and emotional endurance. Her success came with immense pressure, constant reinvention, and deeply personal sacrifices that shaped both her art and her identity. What makes her story compelling is not just the scale of her achievements, but the resilience required to sustain them through love, loss, and health struggles. She represents the rare artist whose career is inseparable from her life experiences, where every stage of growth is reflected in her music and personal evolution. Humble beginnings in Quebec. Celine Dion's early life in Quebec was shaped by simplicity, closeness, and financial hardship. Growing up in a large family meant that resources were always limited, and every member had to contribute in some way to daily life. Despite the financial strain, her household was emotionally rich, filled with cooperation and shared responsibility. This environment taught her early lessons about humility and resilience. She learned that comfort was not guaranteed and that stability came through collective effort rather than abundance. These experiences grounded her personality and gave her a strong sense of gratitude. Instead of seeing limitations as barriers, she learned to adapt and find strength within her surroundings. This foundation played a crucial role in shaping her discipline and determination later in life. especially when she entered the demanding world of music. A family surrounded by music was deeply embedded in Celine Dion's household long before she became a performer. Her family treated music as a natural part of everyday life rather than a formal discipline. Songs were shared during gatherings, celebrations, and even difficult moments, creating a sense of emotional unity. This constant exposure allowed her to absorb rhythm and melody naturally. She did not approach music as something distant or technical. Instead, it became an emotional language she understood instinctively. This environment nurtured her sensitivity to sound and expression. As a result, her connection to music developed organically, rooted in feeling rather than instruction. It shaped her ability to communicate emotion through singing, which later became one of her defining artistic strengths on the global stage. Early signs of extraordinary talent. From a very young age, Celine Dion displayed vocal abilities that stood out even within her musically gifted family. Her voice carried a natural strength and emotional depth that captured attention immediately. When she sang, people around her often stopped what they were doing, drawn by the sincerity and clarity of her tone. What made her unique was not just vocal power, but the emotional honesty she brought into every performance. Even as a child, she seemed to understand the meaning behind the songs she sang, translating feeling into sound with remarkable ease. These early moments revealed that her talent was not ordinary. It had a rare quality that suggested she was destined for something far beyond her immediate surroundings, setting the stage for a future in professional music. First steps into professional music. Celine Dion's entry into the professional music world began when her voice reached the attention of an experienced music manager who immediately recognized her potential. This moment marked a turning point in her life, shifting her from informal singing into structured artistic development. Although still very young, she demonstrated a level of vocal maturity that impressed industry professionals. From that point, her journey became more disciplined, involving recordings, rehearsals, and guided training. She transitioned from singing at home to working in studios, learning how to perform in professional environments. This stage required her to adapt quickly to expectations far beyond her age. It also marked the beginning of her transformation from a gifted child into a developing recording artist with a serious future in the music industry. Growth through early career experiences. As her career developed, Celine Dion focused heavily on building her presence in French-language music. These early professional years were essential in shaping her identity as an artist. She learned how to manage recording sessions, maintain vocal consistency, and deliver emotionally controlled performances. Her growing popularity in Quebec reflected how deeply her voice resonated with local audiences. Each new opportunity strengthened her confidence and refined her artistic discipline. Although she was still young, she was already living a structured professional life that required focus and responsibility. This phase taught her how to balance pressure with performance and helped her understand the demands of a long-term career in music. It was a period of steady growth that laid the groundwork for her international breakthrough. Becoming an international artist transitioning from regional fame to international recognition required Celine Dion to expand both her skills and her artistic identity. She began learning English, adapting her vocal delivery, and preparing for a global audience. This transformation was not immediate. It involved continuous learning and adjustment. She embraced the challenge with determination, understanding that reaching a wider audience meant evolving beyond her original musical boundaries. Her voice remained the core of her identity, but her adaptability allowed her to connect with listeners across cultures. This phase marked her development into a global artist capable of expressing universal emotions through music. It also demonstrated her willingness to grow while staying true to her emotional authenticity. Breakthrough. On the global stage, Celine Dion's breakthrough on the international stage came through a major music competition that introduced her to a worldwide audience. This performance changed the trajectory of her career almost instantly. Competing at such a high level required confidence, focus, and emotional control, all of which she delivered naturally. Her victory brought immediate recognition beyond her home country and established her as a rising global voice. This moment was transformative, not only in terms of exposure, but also in redefining her career possibilities. She was no longer viewed as a regional talent, but as an international artist with significant potential. This breakthrough laid the foundation for her future global success. Rise to worldwide success. Following her breakthrough, Celine Dion released a series of English-language albums that rapidly expanded her global audience. Her music became known for its emotional intensity and powerful vocal delivery. She had a unique ability to make listeners feel personally connected to her songs, transforming them into shared emotional experiences. Her popularity spread across continents, and she became one of the most influential vocalists of her generation. Her songs transcended language barriers, allowing her to connect with diverse audiences worldwide. This period established her as a dominant force in the music industry, solidifying her reputation as a world-class performer with lasting impact. Titanic and cultural impact. One of the defining moments of Celine Dion's career came with a major film soundtrack that achieved global recognition. The song became an instant cultural phenomenon, deeply associated with emotional storytelling and cinematic history. Her performance elevated the track beyond commercial success, turning it into a timeless piece of music. It played a significant role in shaping her legacy, positioning her as one of the most recognizable voices in popular culture. This moment was not just about chart success. It became a defining point in music history, linking her voice to one of the most iconic films ever made. The emotional depth of the song continues to resonate with audiences worldwide. Family, love, and personal choices. Celine Dion's personal life has always been closely intertwined with her professional journey. Her long-term relationship with her manager evolved over time into a deep personal partnership built on trust and shared history. Despite public scrutiny and differing opinions, she remained committed to her emotional truth and personal choices. Their relationship reflected a strong bond formed over years of collaboration and mutual understanding. She often spoke with honesty about her feelings, emphasizing the importance of personal authenticity. This aspect of her life showed that behind the global fame, she remained deeply grounded in emotional connection and loyalty. Career pause and life priorities. At the height of her success, Celine Dion made the conscious decision to step away from her career to focus on her family. This pause reflected her priorities beyond fame and professional achievement. She wanted to dedicate time to her personal life and support her loved ones. This decision demonstrated emotional maturity and self-awareness, showing that even global artists must sometimes step back to maintain balance. During this period, she experienced life away from constant performance pressure, allowing her to reconnect with her personal identity. It reinforced her belief that family and emotional well-being are as important as career success. Las Vegas residency and reinvention. Celine Dion later reinvented her career through a groundbreaking residency in Las Vegas. This new format allowed her to perform consistently in one location instead of traveling globally. The residency became highly successful and redefined how major artists could structure their careers. It provided stability while maintaining artistic excellence. Audiences from around the world traveled to see her performances, making the show a global attraction. This phase demonstrated her ability to adapt to changing industry dynamics while preserving her artistic identity. It became a model for future performers and marked a new chapter in her professional evolution. Strength through loss and challenges. Throughout her life, Celine Dion has faced deeply personal losses that tested her emotional strength. Rather than stepping away from music entirely, she often used her art as a way to process grief and hardship. These experiences added emotional depth to her performances, making her connection with audiences even more powerful. She demonstrated resilience by continuing to perform when possible and by expressing vulnerability through music. Her ability to transform personal pain into artistic expression became one of her defining qualities. It showed that strength is not the absence of difficulty, but the ability to continue despite it. health, struggles, and enduring legacy. In recent years, Celine Dion has faced serious health challenges that have required her to step back from performing. Despite this, her influence on music remains strong and enduring. She is widely respected not only for her vocal ability, but also for her resilience and emotional honesty. Her career has left a lasting impact on the global music industry, inspiring generations of artists. Even during difficult times, her legacy continues to grow through the emotional power of her recordings and performances. Celine Dion's story remains a powerful example of talent combined with perseverance, making her one of the most respected voices in modern music history.